Hi, welcome to the trailer. Come on in.
The Trailer Talks is sponsored by Imaging DNA. Learn more at imagingdna.com.
My name is Jay Friedlander. Right now, I am the Sharpe-McNally Chair of Green and Socially Responsible Business at College of the Atlantic. Now, College of the Atlantic's in Bar Harbor, Maine, on the coast. It is an incredibly beautiful place, and there is a big ethos here around sustainability. And so the business program, I started it about 5 years ago. And it's all about how do you create wins for everybody? How do you create prosperity for investors and the environment and your local community? And then use that to create a business that's more powerful and will outcompete others. And then so in a sense, you're using that giant lever to help bring about change in the world. And from what I've seen, that's my way of bringing about change.
Tell us about your journey so far.
So I think for me, a lot of where I come from and what I've done has come out of the Peace Corps. And, I was in Peace Corps in West Africa, in Mauritania, north of Senegal and south of Morocco. It's the Sahara Desert, right? And it's this country that's this crucible that really boils things down to its essential elements. And it was there that I figured out, I saw really two things. One was that business is in every part of our lives. It is in a way, it's just sort of insidiously creeped into everything. And the other thing that I realized there is I saw two kinds of business pretty starkly contrasted. One was they abolished slavery in Mauritania in 1980. Now, 1980, not 1880.
Yeah.
So when I went there, there were still people who were serving as slaves or essentially indentured servants to other people. And so that's about as evil as you can get, right? You're enslaving people for your own enrichment. And then on the other side, you saw how a group of women could get together and start a cooperative. And they could make enough money to feed their family, raise their social standing, solve all kinds of problems, have better nutrition, better health care. And you could see that business could also be this force that could really lift people up. And for me, it was this aha moment saying like, wow, business is the biggest lever that is out there. And if you do it in the right way, you can really have massive amounts of positive change, both social and environmental. And so that's when I came back and decided to get my MBA and embarked upon a business career, which has eventually led to a teaching career.
How does creativity meld with that business piece?
I worked for about 10 years with a company called Au Naturals. We were the first natural and organic quick service restaurant chain in the world. And we started up, that would have been in the early 2000s. And the company ran for about 10 years. And we really were breaking new ground. And, through our purchasing and through the other things that we were doing, we're producing all of those different elements that I talked about, whether it was buying local, wild, or organic food, or creating a different employee experience, pouring our marketing money into supporting community ventures versus television and other things. Yeah, we did all those kinds of things on a daily basis. Creativity, to me, is all about, so much of it depends on your perspective, right? And entrepreneurship is all about finding a new perspective and looking at something where people just see a flat plane and understanding, where is it wavy? What are the different ways you can look at it? For me, the business piece was really radically redefining what does it mean to be an enterprise. And before there was this, when I was getting interested in this, the maxim was maximize shareholder profits, right? And it really turns out that if you don't shoot directly for that, you can actually do so much more and leave everybody better off. So it's a win for the company and you're more profitable. It's a win for the environment and a win for the community. And so the creativity is this, how can you imagine something that's different than what you're living in? And how can you look at the world in a different way and find things that nobody saw there before? So it is really about changing perspective. I see sustainability as an and. there's this false dichotomy that we've created in a lot of places that says, like, if I have this over here, I can't have this. And to me, and when you talk about being stuck in the way you think, looking at the world in these two ways is really problematic. So really, to create a new economy, it's about the and. It's how can I be successful over here with, let's say, profitability, but I can also, and I can figure out a way to help society, and I can figure out a way to help the environment, and I can figure out a way to use resources more efficiently. And so, to me, that is the best hope of change. And the one thing about the capitalist system, I mean, love it or hate it, and it's got plenty of problems. It is incredibly productive. It can do things really fast. And if you can change the principles that underlie it and help people realize that you can do all of these things, as well as achieve the goal of profitability and strength, and actually do that better, that is how I think we're going to get change. Because I think we're so mired down in other areas, like policy in the US is just, it's a nightmare. And I think if you can show people who are motivated through a profit motive or through an altruistic motive, that it's not a trade-off. You don't have to sacrifice your company to help the community, or you don't have to sacrifice your company to help the environment. You can actually, and there are tons of examples out there, everything from the sharing economy, which is super popular right now and everyone's talking about it, to people who are using smokestacks to harvest elements out of them that they can then use in industrial processes, of ways that people are thinking about the world. And as a result, and going back to your creativity question, they're coming up with new ways of doing things that no one had thought of before. But it's all about changing your perspective and getting rid of these old kind of models that we use to guide ourselves.
I love it when people, interrupt the waste stream and go, "Hey, we can use this for something else."
Oh, I mean, the waste stream is like, it's like gold dust sitting out there, that everyone can use. And the sharing economy is the same thing. It's just taking something that you have sitting around and saying, well, why does this need to sit here all the time? Mm-hmm. Can't there be another use for this? And the opportunities for that are huge. And I think the amount of change that I see going on is incredibly hopeful. Obviously, I think if you're not concerned about the world and the environment and kind of all the things that are going on, you're kind of blind. But if you don't have hope, like, what's the point?
So, what do you think the most important thing is that you're teaching your students?
There's a couple of things. One's a really mechanical piece about how do you present information? How do you get up and stand up in front of a lot of people and get your ideas across? Because increasingly the world is moving. You don't leave college and go, and so you don't go to a job and someone says, okay, write me a 20-page paper on, what you think about this idea. It's all about being able to communicate either formally or informally, through the spoken word and using PowerPoint and understanding about time limits and what you have. So I think that's a very mechanical piece they've gotten. I think the other thing is this notion that taking a controlled, thoughtful risk is okay, and that you have to be willing to break outside your boundaries, make yourself uncomfortable, and try things. And because in high school, that is kind of beat out of you. That you are supposed to be, you're taught to, here's what I want you to know. This is how you're going to do things. And here, we have a self-directed education. It's get out there and take a risk. Like one of the things we do is we have students start enterprises as part of their education, so they can understand what does it feel like to do something, have it not work out, and how do you handle that, and what do you do, but knowing that it's okay to get out there and take a risk.
So what is success for you in the future?
It's sort of a balance. If I can maintain the balance of, so I look at my work here at the College of the Atlantic, and I feel like there's a really good balance between ideas and action. And that's one thing I love about this school, is that you can have, you're discussing ideas on the one hand, but we have students who are involved in projects and doing stuff at the same time. And it's that merger of the two that's really exciting to me. because it's fun to play with ideas, but at some point you're like, okay, we've got to stop just talking and doing nothing. And it's really fun to do stuff, but that can also, there's also sort of, you can get into a daily grind and just try to get stuff done to get it done. And so having the two of those things together and that balance is really important. And I think for me, for success on the whole picture of my life, it's enjoying what I'm doing for work, but it's also getting time to be outside, and go hiking in Acadia National Park, and to have time to be with my 8-year-old, and having a balance in life so it's not so extreme. And I also have found that switching from industry to academia, you realize how insidious and slowly things sort of fade away. So the first time I had a summer off, when I joined up with academia,
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't done that in, oh gosh, it must have been 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have a summer to just go backpacking all summer long with, at the time my son was 4, and to be able to take him out to national parks and to see that. And you forget on the 2-week vacation all the things that you're missing by only working, it's 14, 12-hour days, and, strung together.
Right.
And you just forget of all the incredible things that are out there, and you need to get out and experience them.
So what do you think resonates most with your audience, i.e. your classroom?
So the school I teach at is completely interdisciplinary.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's no departments, there's no tenure. And I will have students in my classroom who are marine biologists, who are artists, who are advocates. And I think what resonates with them, there's a couple of things. What I'm amazed at is how stuck some people are in their views. And so, I just did a whole piece on build and create what you want, and figuring out how you can help people create what they want to do is the piece that really resonates for them from what I've seen. And so if you're an artist, how do you take this joy and love that you have of creating art, but actually make that into a career? If you're and someone who's into advocacy, how can you actually do that and create those things? And how do you take your interest in the things you love and build something around them? And all of that makes their academics more interesting. So when you're engaged in trying to create the thing or the world that you want, when you're studying stuff that's related to that, you get to see this mashup of how does theory and practice go together, and it sort of enriches things overall. So that piece around creating is huge.
What's the one thing that you think everyone should know about living life creatively?
Don't forget that you have options. Don't forget that the way you think that you're living your life is only a teeny tiny speck of all the ranges of possibilities that are out there. You have options. You can do things differently. Upend the apple cart once in a while. See what's going on. I mean, and I think of, you were talking about your kids, like having a kid definitely does that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
suddenly, it's like, I remember so, oh God, like it was yesterday when my son was 6 months, and we were sitting out at a coffee shop in Portland, Maine, and it's, 6:15 in the morning. We'd been out there for half an hour, hoping it was going to open soon. And then at that moment I realized, and I looked around and there were all these other parents there, and you realize there's this whole world happening out here I never saw before. Not that I really wanted to be there, sitting there at that moment, seeing it, but you realize that, wow, you really walk on around with blinders on. And so just getting out there and checking things out, I think is so important. The other time I think I realized that is sometimes if you go out for a hike in winter, and you see these ice formations that are just incredibly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, before the hike, the last thing you want to do is go hiking in the winter. It's cold. You got to put on 14 layers. It's a total pain. You got to go dig your car out. You're freezing. Your hands are cold. And you go out, and it's so beautiful. And you realize that beauty is always out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sitting there waiting for you to find it. And so you got to just be willing to go out there and try and find it. And sometimes you go out and there's nothing and whatever. And then other times like 2 days ago, I was up on a trail and there was an albino deer that walked by with a huge rack on its head, along with a doe and, 2 babies. and I would have never seen that had I not just gone out there to go for a run. So, but that stuff is, and that's one of the things about living here. It's, you just realize there are so many incredible things to see and do, and you just got to get out there and check them out.
Thanks for being on the Trailer Talks. This is great.
Thank you for having me. I'll look forward to it. I hope I give you some decent fodder to work
Absolutely.
with. Well, enjoy.
Okay, you too.
All right. Good luck.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So yeah, this is the boring part of the Trailer Talks.